Did you know that in 1987 one guy managed to fly from West Germany to Moscow on a small sports plane and actually landed just a few meters from Red Square? Wait, in 1987? Wasn't there still like an iron curtain? And wouldn't anyone trying to cross it be killed? Well, yes, absolutely. But you see, this guy was just something different. He actually had an ability to make himself and his plane invisible. Yeah, that's the way we could explain it. I'm sure this wasn't just a total scandal and failure of USSR's defense, resulting in dismissal of Soviet Minister of Defense Sergei Sokolov, as well as Chief of Soviet Air Defense Forces Alexander Koldunov. Oh boy, you are so wrong for thinking that. Does he even realize no one was actually thinking that? Don't you dare open your mouth one more time. Oh, hi guys. What was I talking about? Mathias Rust, born 1st of June 1968 to a middle-class family in West Germany, obtained his private pilot license when he was just 18 years old. I don't know guys, is it just me or were people back then like more mature? I mean, I'm 21 and I'm happy when I successfully drive to other side of the town, not completely wrecking my car and sending multiple people to God in the process. His passion for flying was accompanied by a strong sense of idealism. Influenced by the ongoing Cold War tensions and the growing calls for peace and diplomacy, Rust envisioned a bold plan to create a symbolical bridge between West and East. You know, in October of 1986, the negotiations on the US-Soviet arm reductions agreement in Reykjavik failed. And if it were for war to break out, Germany, being right between these forces, would be kinda completely destroyed. So Mathias had an idea. If he could make it to Moscow without being obliterated, it would prove to Ronald Reagan that Soviet Union was no longer the evil empire he thought it was. He prepared a 20-page essay he wanted to give to Gorbachev in person and modified his plane with a bigger fuel tank, making it possible to fly almost 1,400 kilometers instead of its original 300 kilometers. So yeah, this guy at the age of 18 was not only a pilot, but an aircraft engineer as well. What am I doing wrong with my life? On May 13, 1987, Rust took off from Hamburg. He had multiple stops along the way, first in Farroe Islands, then in Reykjavik, Iceland. From there he went to Bergen in Norway, and finally to Helsinki, Finland. Pretty nice little trip, I must say, but he was not finished. His journey was just about to begin. On 28th of May 1987, after a sleepless night full of thinking, Mathias filed a flight plan to Stockholm, Sweden. He was still not 100% sure if he wanted to risk his life and try to fly to Moscow, so he maintained his original course at first. But then, after about 20 minutes, he made a 170-degree turn to the left. About 30 minutes later, Rust's signal officially disappeared from the radars. Yeah, he went all in, risking his life just for a small chance of actually being able to meet Gorbachev and hand him the essay he wrote. I'm telling you, this guy was just something else. He would definitely be welcome in the sesh. He'd be one of the boys for sure. While he was flying and his heart was racing, he was briefly tracked by a Soviet radar. But, for whatever reason, not eliminated. Which was a huge luck for him and for the world as well, cause he very well may be one of the reasons why Cold War ended. Another strike of luck occurred when two MiG-23s followed him for a while without him even realizing. When he was out of the previous airspace and on the radar screen of a new air defense, the same situation unfolded. And this time one of the jets even slowed down and flew right beside him. The two pilots looked at each other. Mathias' heart was beating like a squirrel on coke. Is this the end? Is this really how he will go? Meanwhile, the jet's pilot was just trying to contact him via radio, and when it didn't work out, he accelerated and just flew off. Upon reaching Moscow, he at first wanted to land directly in Kremlin, but shortly scrapped that idea. cause that way only a few people within the system would see him and the KGB could do whatever they wanted to do with him. So he decided to land on the Red Square. After a few failed landing attempts on the crowded square, Mathias, not wanting to hurt anyone, finally landed on the Bolshoi Moskvoretsky Bridge near Red Square. As soon as he lands, everyone is like, what the hell is this guy doing here? The place goes nuts. Soviet authorities scramble, grab Mathias Rust and charge him with bunch of stuff like illegal entry and violating aviation laws, giving him 4 years in prison. Oops. But plot twist. Mikhail Gorbachev, being the cool dude he is, let Rust go after just 14 months as a gesture of goodwill. Rust's crazy stunt made the Soviet military look pretty silly, which led to a significant personnel changes and reforms within the air defense system. But wait, there is more. Gorbachev used this whole fiasco to accelerate his policies of glasnost and perestroika, which ultimately contributed to the dissolution of Soviet Union. Mathias Rust's life, particularly his historical flight into Moscow, serves as a strong reminder of the power of individual agency in shaping historical narratives. Alright guys, this was my first video on this channel. If you liked it, please like, subscribe and share with your friends. Also, feel free to tell me what should I improve in the comments. See ya!